Now, frequent hurricanes led to calls for the construction of a seawall in New York City, but this project kept getting delayed. Hurricane Ida, which slammed the city earlier this year, provided a new lease of life to the storm surge barrier. Details in our next report.
In August 2021, remnants of Hurricane Ida pounded New York City. What followed was almost apocalyptic. One of the world's best-known metropolises was completely flooded.
That car started floating!
Roads, subways, the water was everywhere. The catastrophic deluge brought back focus to a much-delayed project. Authorities approved the construction of a seawall in 2012, following Hurricane Sandy. Since then, the work has been hitting roadblocks due to the lack of funds and local opposition. But now, the construction is in full swing. Officials say that the climate emergency cannot be overlooked anymore. They hope that the $1.4 billion system of walls and floodgates will protect the city from rising sea levels.
We'd had hurricanes and storms in New York for many, many years, but Sandy was the first highly sort of catastrophic event that really sort of galvanized a lot of the ways that we're thinking about how we approach climate change now. And now you're seeing the outcome from that, which are all these very, very substantial projects to protect New Yorkers.
The walls will be 5 meters high. The project will also include embankments to prevent water from seeping into densely populated Manhattan. A new drainage system is also being built.
This has been a long process. As I explained, we installed piles as a deep foundation, and then we installed a sheet pile that will form a cutoff wall underground to protect against flooding. And then we form for the footing that you see over here. And as you see the last section, we are pouring the concrete, which will give us the wall similar to what you see from this end.
The city will also plant about 1,800 trees, nearly double the number that the project's construction has destroyed. There's more in store, like a dock, cycling lanes, and gardens.
New York City is investing over $20 billion in climate resiliency. We're implementing a multi-layered strategy that includes protecting our coastline. We have 520 miles of coastline across New York City, so we're concerned about the impacts of storm surge and sea level rise. We're also upgrading our buildings. There are 1 million buildings in New York City, so we're retrofitting wherever possible, and we have one of the most resilient building codes in the world.
Despite the heavy investment, the storm surge barrier has its limitations. Authorities say that it will not be enough to protect New York's entire coastline. To add to their woes, the city's sea level is expected to rise by nearly 2 meters by the end of the century. Experts say that despite the shortcomings, the project's importance should not be underestimated, and that the modern cities must have a climate-resilient infrastructure. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.